Okay, guys, let's get started. So, first of all, I welcome you in this very video. In this video, I'm going to welcome you and I'm going to discuss a really important topic. The topic is about an experience of mine. See, first off, if you are coming on this very channel for the very first time, I would gladly welcome you to this very channel, and I would gladly also introduce you to this face if you're looking it for the very first time. But if you are not looking this face for the very first time, I'm going to be actually surprised because I really don't post that much. So it's going to be a shocker for me. Nevertheless, today I'm basically discussing about an experience of mine that I wanted to share. You see, before I begin to talk about it, for one thing, I'd like to make sure that you understand properly is the fact that I'm not faking anything right now. See, as far as accent is concerned, this is one of the accents that I've been using for a really long time now. I can also speak the other way. The other way is this one, in which I can speak like this, and I can go on to talk about my experiences. I can go on to talk about I can give you examples in which I, felt very, very uncomfortable in speaking. So, this is just an example of what I can deliver on the spot. So, usually, when conversing in person, I try to use the other accent that I just showed you right now, just a few seconds ago. The reason why is because I would want to be aligned with the people that I'm working at that very time. So if I see that the person that or the people that I'm working at that very time actually is not very much comfortable with the way that I'm using right now, I would get aligned myself to their accent level. So once again, I'm not faking anything. Now, the experience. Why did I even think of sharing this experience? Well, first off, I believe that we learn really, really good with experiences, don't we? We get to experience things without even being in those experiences, without even experiencing those experiences, where we get to hear experiences from people, and that's a really important thing to get. It's a life lesson, as simple as that. Now, a lot of people, when I personally haven't asked this question to them, but if I come to ask them this very question, that how do you think I would have performed, or I would perform in front of people? The answer might be that you meaning I would perform decently or good as a speaker, which I absolutely understand and I absolutely agree with that. Not not for the fact that I highly highly value my speaking skills. It's not for that. It's because I've been in such situations now wherein I had to present something in front of people. But this was not the case from the ground up. From the scratch, it was a different story. So this story, this experience that I'm sharing with you all people today is a testimony of that. See, there was a time, when I talk about there was a time, it literally means there was a time, like a long time ago. You could say probably a decade or more than half a decade ago, 1.5 decade ago. So that was a time when I was in school, a school going boy. There were a lot of differences between my current self and my old self that was going to school back then. Despite being a lot of differences, there was one similarity that I still had back then, and I still have today, and that is the crave for getting improvised in English, speaking English. So at that time as well, I was pretty much into talking to people randomly online, exploring platforms and going there for hours of speaking, constant speaking. I mean to say. So and so that having done all of that, I used to believe that given a chance, given an opportunity, I would bring my level best. I was just awaiting a moment. I was just awaiting an opportunity to knock, that I could, knock. Such was my attitude back then, which is great. I mean, it's not negative at all. So I got a chance. Yeah, the best thing is, yeah, I got a chance to prove myself. You see, when I say that, I used to, do that. I used to, speak with strangers for hours. I used to do that on a regular basis. You could assume it to be minimum 1 hour or 2 hours of constant speaking every day with strangers, and that was going on for good amount of time. Consequently, it made me uh, believe that yes, I could pull it off when I get a real opportunity. So in that very time, I was part of a group that had prepared a working model to be represented at a school level. You could say it was more of an event. Yeah, so that was an event. By the time that model was created or developed, I was part of the team. I was just merely a helper. I wasn't the one who was going to represent it in front of the people who were supposedly going to view it, or who were supposedly going to, you know, uh, see it, how it is functioning. Or the fancy term is invigilator. So I really don't use it that often, so I didn't use it before. Now, stories aren't meant to be boring, right? So here's the catch. At the very last moment, before I tell you the catch, once we arrived there at that place where the event was taking place, despite me having, you know, if not, I mean, hundreds, if not thousands of conversations online with strangers, with my confidence on the very top, on cloud nine, prior to going to that event, I had that confidence that I'm going to, I mean, if given the chance, I'm going to perform extremely well, exceptionally well. When I arrived there, my confidence went all down to south, because what I saw there was a good amount of students, speaking in English the way that I had only imagined. So that was a check, a reality check that had been seen by me at that time. So it made me really, really concerned about and worried about my own speaking skills. Although I wasn't going to be representing our team, yet it gave me a reality check that I need to do more. Uh, so those very students who were not part of government schools, they were from the private schools, so it was quite obvious that they were going to be like that. Now the moment arrived. Before the final moment, I got a news. I got something that gave shivers throughout my body, that gave shocking vibes throughout my body. If you've guessed it already, yes, it is. I got to know that I am actually going to be the one to represent our group, our model. At first, I was surprisingly glad, actually. I was glad that, okay, I'm getting this opportunity. I'm going to do something really, really well for my team, for my school at this very event. You won't believe what happened, would you? So, what happened? I stood there, my friends were beside me, behind me. I was at the beginning, I was at the front with our model just right next to us, waiting for the invigilators to come to our desk so that we could present. I could present. Before that exact moment, I had plenty of things going in my mind. How would I start? What would I say? And this and that. This way of speaking is going to be really, really good, and don't put extra things or whatever and whatnot. But when it came down to the actual moment, what I said to the invigilators, what I said to those two individuals, was all I could say in that very day. I said three magical words. No, it wasn't what you are imagining. It wasn't that. Why would I say that to those two people? Makes sense, right? What I said was, because it was noon, I said, "Good afternoon, sir." These three magical words. Once I said those words, once I uttered those words, all I said, all I witnessed was complete blank, pin drop silence from myself. Nothing to be heard from my mouth, not at all. And that led to, you know, some, of course, that led to the assistance that was provided by me by my group members, and they eventually got up front and started to describe about the model. Of course, not in English. That was the reason why they had backed down earlier. It was entirely described in Hindi uh, eventually. I mean, it was accepted, but the fact that we had gone with English description of the same speaks about that we wanted to somehow, so this is, you might be aware of the fact that this is more of like showing off. I mean, it gets attention if we are doing it in that way, in English. And we Indians, we do have that in ourselves, that we would be listening to something even though it's rubbish, but in English we'd be paying attention to that. It's in our blood, unfortunately. So that was the reason why we had gone, and also the fact that we were at that event in wherein probably most of the presenters were going to be using English as their language of communicating. So we had also, it wasn't mandatory, but it was probably obviously understood by us and by everybody else at that time around there. So yeah, it got over. I eventually felt extremely disappointed and frustrated that I couldn't really do it. What I had been doing, what I had been practicing for this much time with people all over the world, not just in India, but all over the world. uh, Hours of constant speaking, hours of constant practice, all went into vain, nothing. So this also, such experiences we also go through before we come to speak the way we speak in future, before we get to know what to do in future. All right, guys, this was it. I mean, I hope I didn't bore you enough. Although I do have such instances more, but let's keep it uh, this one, let's keep this one for now only. In this video, we might have different experiences in coming videos. So appreciate all of your time. We'll meet again next time. Till then, bye bye, take care, and stay safe.